Thank you so much. No pressure that the boss comes and says that I'm going to entertain you. That's no pressure at all. If I'm going to, oh my goodness. You know, we are living in the greatest generation that has ever lived. Do you realize that in our generation, the internet was created, mobile phones were created, social media, okay, not everything is good, but social media was created, of course, even AI. It's amazing. How many of you out there have a child somewhere around 10 years or less? Do you have any? This is my niece, and this was when she was 1.5 years old. She's on an iPad. You don't even have to tell your child how to use the iPad. As a matter of fact, if you have a teenager and you have a problem with your phone, you can probably just hand it to them. They'll do a couple of swipes, roll their eyes, and say it's fixed, right? It's amazing how much is going on. We are living in a digital world. The future of our every investigation, every prosecution, and as you heard, even our national and economic security depends on your ability to first identify potential digital evidence, then preserve that evidence in a way that we can analyze it and present it to the courts where they trust it, right? It's amazing what's going on. Do you know last year alone, we created or replicated 180 zettabytes of digital information in the world. 180 zettabytes. Now, I talk to a lot of judges a lot of times. My normal day job, I'm the director of the Cyber Crime Lab for DOJ, and I'm not allowed to say zettabyte to a judge, a federal judge, and not explain it. We all know what a gigabyte is, right? If you were to print 1 gigabyte of text out on paper. Do you know that stack of paper, 12-inch or 12-pitch font, 1-inch margins, would be a stack of paper 1,000 feet high? That's 1 gigabyte. Now, if you took 1,000 of those stacks of paper, that would be 1 terabyte. 1,000 of those, 1 petabyte. 1,000 of those, an exabyte, and 1,000 of those, a zettabyte. And we created 180 of those last year alone. Do you know that stack of paper now is tall enough to go from the sun to Pluto 5,104 times round trip? That's 1 year of digital information. Those students in here, the juniors, there's job security in cyber. There's jobs that we're never going to run out of job security in cyber. Does anybody, let me ask you, does anybody raise your hand or just shout it out? Does anybody know what comes after a zettabyte? What's the next order of magnitude? Come on, I know you know it. It's a yottabyte, of course, right? So yeah, it's a yottabyte. So that's right. Well, how are we creating? How is it that we're creating so much information? Because everybody is using technology, from our children to our parents. Maybe my parent trying to white out. You caught that. Only us that know what whiteout is really caught that. I got to update that slide. Technology has changed the way that we live. It's changed the way that we communicate. Today, kids don't want to talk on the phone. Text me. We had an intern not too long ago from Carnegie Mellon at the DOJ Cyber Crime Lab. He said, Mr. Carroll, you keep coming over and talking to me. We don't do that. I was like, excuse me? He said, yeah, we text. We don't talk. And I said, that's when I got old. I said, son, we're going to, that's not going to happen here. So it's even changed the way that we socialize. Today, when we think about socializing, we think of what? Social networking, right? You can't talk about the social networking without talking about Facebook. Everybody seems to have a Facebook account. I think 3 billion people. Google. What would we do without Google? Oh Lord, indeed. Oh Lord, indeed. Would it surprise you? Let me ask you, would it surprise you if I told you that there were 15 million Google searches done in a single month? Would that surprise anybody? No, it shouldn't, because that was in 1999 when Google came out. That's right. Do you know how many Google searches we did last month alone? Last month alone, we're talking about 416 billion Google searches. That's 5.2 trillion Google searches a year. And a whopping 296 billion of those were on mobile devices. For the young people in the room, can you hold up your thumbs? I just want to see what they look like, because they move like lightning. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you do it. It's amazing. What would it look like? I got a great idea. How about one of us come up to my computer, and what we're going to do is we'll get you to log on to your Gmail account, or your Gmail account, and just for fun, we will pull up all your Google searches for the past year. Wait a minute. It's okay. It's all right. Wouldn't that be fun? What kind of story would that tell if we could? What kind of story would that tell? It might look a little bit like this. This is just hypothetical. It might look like this over a year. We've got how to spice up your marriage, right? You got to work to keep a good marriage. Romantic evenings at home. You got to put in the work, people. How to tell if your husband, is having an affair. We hit a snag. There's a problem. Reverse phone number lookups. Who is he calling? Who is texting him? I'm going to hire a private detective and have him followed. Getting even with a cheating spouse. Does it bother you that Google prompts these questions? How to kill your husband and get away with it. Thank you, Google. Appreciate that. Divorce attorney's going to take him for everything that he's worth. How to lose weight fast, because let's face it, when we get married, we put on a little insulation. So we got to dating again at 40. Is that possible? I can tell you it's difficult. How to find love if you're a geek but online. Then you have to look sexy once you're in the dating game. And once you are in the dating game, the ultimate Google searches will follow. I'm just telling you, we share our most intimate secrets with Google, and they know it. They absolutely know it. Matter of fact, I have been suggesting, I don't know if you can help me, I've been suggesting they should turn Google off at 11 o'clock at night everywhere in the world. As the sun reaches 11, because there are no good Google searches after 11 o'clock at night. I can tell you. Yeah. They know it all. Right? The dog won't kiss me anymore. But and it's just so amazing. You know, I was looking at just different restaurants. This is where we're staying, right? We're right over in here at the hotel, and I was noticing, the Kingston waterfront. But do you notice something about this this Google map? Here, take a look at this. Let's zoom in right here. When I did that Google search last night, they said live right now, this is how busy it is at that location. You can click a restaurant, a coffee shop, and Google will tell you right now in Kingston, Jamaica, how busy is that coffee shop. How do they know that? Well, of course, they're using our phones. It's not just Google. I'm not picking on Google. The overarching goal of nearly every website in the world is to collect our information, to analyze what it is that we're doing, to manipulate our behavior, and ultimately to monetize your behavior. How many times have you been looking at a website, little black dress that you want to get, and then the next day you come in and what kind of advertisements are on Amazon and what kind of advertisements are on? That is the world we live in. There is something about the internet. Don't know what it is, but it gives us a sense of anonymity. It makes us say things and post things and do things that we would never do if our mom was standing right behind us. Wouldn't that be a wonderful world to live in if we all acted like mom was standing just over our shoulder, right? That's a beautiful world. But this is good for us because criminals are creating digital evidence about their daily activity. Terrorists are carrying phones, creating digital evidence about their daily activity. And so what we do, what we're learning in class right now is digital investigative analysis. And we say, what's the purpose? We were talking just today, right? We were saying, after all this technical stuff that we're doing, we're going deep into the registry and structured storage streams. But what is our ultimate goal? It's to tell a story. what happened on this device, what happened on this phone. That's our job. And I also told this story in class today. If somebody were to be murdered just outside of our hotel at the Hilton there, at the Rock, police would come and they put crime scene tape around it, and they take pictures and they interview people. Could the police come into the lobby and interview people in the lobby? Of course they could. Could they come into that hotel and interview every person in every room of that 12-story building? And the answer is, of course they could. Do they ever do that? No, just too much, too many people, too much information. Well, guess what? With digital, there are between 4 and 9 million digital artifacts on a Windows computer. Every Windows computer, 4 and 9 million. We base our investigation on witness testimony, and every one of those 4 to 9 million digital artifacts are all independent witnesses. Each and every one of those positively or negatively charged ions has a story to tell. And what we do is we analyze that evidence and we tell people the story of what happened on that device. The evidence shows they did this. We have to have an investigative mindset. It's not just pushing buttons. One of the biggest dangers that we're facing right now in the United States is we got too much information. We got too much data coming in. We've got too much digital evidence and not enough people. Unlike you, we didn't start planning early enough. We didn't start planning, so we've got a tsunami of digital evidence, and we can't handle it. So God bless you for starting early, for training early, because you're preparing for that cyber resilience. That's what we do. And it's not just a checklist. As a matter of fact, when I was first going through law enforcement school, this was, 1986. I can't believe it's 40 years now. They told us about this guy named Edmund Lockhart. He's a French scientist, and he came up with this theory called the evidence transfer principle. And what he said is anytime two items came in contact with each other, there was a transfer of trace evidence. Any of you have a cat or a dog at home? Raise your hand. You got. If you look on your clothes, I'll bet you brought with you a piece of your cat or dog, right? You got that little, and that's evidence transfer. Well, the same thing happens with digital evidence. It's us coming in contact with an operating system, coming in contact with an application, coming in contact with a file or the internet. All of that leaves trace evidence. Do you know in the first 1.7 seconds, when you click and open a Word document, do you know that there's over 60 digital artifacts recording that you opened that Word document? You can't do anything on a digital device without leaving trace evidence. And for the young people, I didn't plan on saying this, but I'll say it because we got some young people in the room. Nothing that you do on the internet will ever go away. So when you're running for president, think about the pictures that you're taking today. Think about the words that you're saying today. And we talked about it today in class. We said, you know what? In the last 30 years, do you know there hasn't been such a thing as a full forensic analysis? No one, not any country, has ever analyzed a computer or phone or hard drive and found everything. There is always more information. It's not because they missed it. We did enough in the time that we had. Did I hear, General, that how much time are you going to let me analyze that case? I want the answer now, don't you? Yes, sir. I want the answer right now. We don't have time to wait. So we do enough in the time that we have, with the tools that we have available, the training we have available, and the information about that investigation that we have. Every question that we ask, it's an investigative, iterative process. And you know what? Two equally qualified, now this is important when you go to court, two equally qualified digital investigative analysts with the same level of integrity will never disagree. I can do an analysis, and as long as you and I are equally trained and we have the same level of integrity, neither one of us are willing to stretch the truth or make our story a little more verbose, we'll never disagree. Will absolutely never disagree. When we think about digital evidence in the Department of Justice and in cybercrime and in SANS, we think about it in 4 phases. First, there's what, particularly in DOJ and criminal investigations, first there's the pre-search phase. This is before you've actually gone and searched this person's house. Then there's the search phase. So we now have a search warrant. We go and search their house. We're looking for that terrorist plan to blow up the building or what have you. Then there's the post-search investigation where all that digital evidence that we grab, we send it to the lab and we have them analyzed. And then finally, there's the prosecutor's great joy, which is trial, where they get to stand up there and tell the story or let us tell the story. But I have terrible news for you, because I was talking to a prosecutor just the other day back at the office, and I talked about this, and I said, do you know these 4 phases? He goes, yeah, but there's really no digital evidence in the pre-search phase because we haven't seized anything. I said, oh my goodness. Let me ask you. And he says the value of that digital evidence is very low in the search phase because we're just grabbing it. Then it goes to the lab. We don't have enough people. We got too much work. So it sits there in the lab in the backlog. And then finally it gets analyzed and it becomes really valuable. Let me ask you something about that pre-search phase. Is there anybody in this room that doesn't have a web-based email? No, we all do. Does anybody have, I'm just curious, raise your hand for me. Does anybody have 3 web-based email accounts? Anybody got 3? You got 3? 3? Oh, you're being on. Okay. Anybody got 5? Anybody have 5? Well, okay. Let's see. Who's got the most? Anybody got 6? Oh my goodness. 7? 7? I got a 7 here and a 7 there. Well, you know what? You two, first of all, you two are the hackers in the room. I'm going to give you a cybercrime lab lapel pin. Absolutely. So you get a cybercrime lab lapel pin for having the most number of email accounts. These, by the way, if you wear that everywhere you go, it'll help me track where you are. I'm kidding. I'm kind of kidding. But yeah, everybody's got web-based email accounts, social networking. Everybody's telling us what they're doing every day, who they're with, what they're eating, because somehow everybody wants to know what happened for breakfast, right? Cloud storage. This is the new threat. Everything. This is the old days. Everything's going back to the cloud. You might be old enough to remember the old dumb terminal days where all we had was that green screen. Everything was on the server. That's the way it is now. You take that picture, it's going up to the cloud. OneDrive, we were talking about OneDrive in class this week. And OneDrive, when I talked to judges, I said, do you know Microsoft is stealing our files? We create a file on our computer, and it's only there for a few seconds because before long you get this little blue cloud and they've taken it off. Have you ever gotten on a plane? I'm gonna get some work done. You go to open that file, you're like, oh, it's not there. It's in the cloud. They've taken it off your computer. They left you a pointer. They say, hey, this is what you got to wait for, right? If you get the little green check, that means it's temporarily been pulled down to your system, but it's going to be gone in a few minutes. You actually have to right click and say, keep this here forever. Otherwise, Microsoft's going to take it for you. It's going to be in the cloud. And the good news for us in law enforcement, even when you delete that, guess what? It's still recoverable from the cloud for 30 days. And today, everything is in the cloud. When you take a picture, when you surf the internet, guess what's happening? I'm surfing the internet on my phone. It's going up to the cloud and it's going to all of my devices, right? You take that picture on your iPhone, you get back to it's already on your iPad. It's on your laptop. So this is the cloud. Apple pioneered this, right? If you opened up like your Safari browser on your iPhone, that's the oldest iPhone I've ever seen. You'll see these 2 little square boxes. Well, if you click those, what that'll do is that'll show you the tabs that are open on your phone. But if you scroll up, what you start seeing, there's my iPad, and you can see what I have on my iPad right now. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see that's my Mac Mini computer back in Virginia. Hold on. I think my wife's reading my email. Oh, dog it. That's all right. I saw what she ordered on Amazon today, Sue. But all browsers are synchronizing everything that we've got. When you surf on one computer, that data is going to the others. And guess what? On some of these browsers, you try to delete that information off your phone. You want to clear your history. Guess what? It's off that phone. It's on your other devices. So for law enforcement, this is great for us because if we know about this, we can go get it, right? If we know about it, we can go get it. Microsoft. How many of you have opened up a Word document and you get that little pop-up that says, hey, welcome back. You were just here 27 minutes ago. Would you like to pick up where you last left off? And when you click that button, it takes you to page 27 of that 50-page document. Isn't that nice? But isn't it a little bit scary? How do you know? I was on my computer upstairs. Now I'm on my iPad or my Surface laptop. They know. Microsoft is tracking that information. We talked about this today, didn't we? We talked about the registry keys. They're remembering the last time you opened the document, the last time you closed the document, where that document was. Was it on your hard drive? Was it on your thumb drive? Is it in the cloud? They even know exactly where you were in that document. This number right here, the second number, that's how many characters from the beginning of the document you were when you last closed that document. It's amazing. And that's being spread across all of our devices. So when we're thinking about those four phases, first of all, in the pre-search phase, now we need to be thinking, our law enforcement, our military, when we're responding to terrorist incidents, we need to be thinking even before we go into their house or their business to grab their digital devices. Where is potential digital evidence? Because it might be in the cloud. We might be able to grab a lot of that stuff if we know about it. When we're searching now, instead of that digital data being very low value, it skyrockets. It can become much more valuable. Our key is we've got to identify and preserve digital evidence, and we got to do it quick. And I hate to tell you something, but we talked about it yesterday in class. We're missing, we, United States, we are missing massive amounts of digital evidence. Do you know what 80% of the time happens when somebody, a law enforcement comes across a computer that's powered on and logged in? Exactly. They pull the plug like they're trying to start a lawnmower, right? And what should we do? First of all, what we try to encourage is take some photos. What's around that computer? I got money, I got credit cards, I got a bag of drugs. What's there? How about incognito? Anybody know what incognito or in private browsing is? We call it porn mode in the United States. Just being honest, just a little honesty. Do you know that every browser now, when you're in incognito mode, nothing is being saved to your hard drive. Nothing. Everything that you do. Wouldn't you like to know that if you come in and see a computer powered on, that they're in incognito mode and they got a how to build a bomb Google search or DuckDuckGo search? So the first thing we need to do is document what's going on. But the second thing, before we pull that plug, what do we lose? RAM, yeah, that short-term memory. There's two types of memory on a computer. Long-term, that's a hard drive. You save it, it's there forever. RAM is short-term memory. If you don't write that stuff down quick, you're going to forget it. And you lose that when you unplug the computer. What's in RAM? Everybody seems to miss it. Everything from geolocations. Look at this. This is RAM. And right here, you can see there's 111 cloud service URLs. They've been using Google Drive and Sync. There's 29 Google searches in RAM. Even though they're in incognito mode, it's all in RAM. There's 111 chat sessions, and even the encrypted chat sessions in RAM are in the clear. We can see them if we grab RAM before we shut that computer down. That's what's critical. Even email that you haven't read, Google loads them up into RAM. So we've got to image RAM. And we did that in class. We talked about it. But now what? We've got RAM. What if the computer is encrypted? Do you know that it started in Windows 8, but it got really aggressive in Windows 10 and 11? Do you know Microsoft now, if your computer is new, particularly in Windows 11 and the later versions of Windows 10, Microsoft will automatically, with no notification to you, encrypt your hard drive. So law enforcement, government, military, you go in and grab that computer, guess what? You got nothing. Why? Because it's all encrypted. It's all encrypted. If you didn't, but if you imaged RAM, guess what's in RAM? That decryption key. We can pull that out. So what we trained our students in class this week, this was on day one. They were checking for encryption. This is a free utility. You plug it in and it says, oh, hey, looks like your V drive is encrypted with TrueCrypt or VeriCrypt. If you shut this computer down, you're never getting in there again. So we've got to document, image, RAM, and check for encryption. And guess what? We showed our students Monday, we showed our students that even if you have an encrypted container, a VeriCrypt encrypted container with a super long password and a seed phrase or a seed image, that if we do a live logical image, we can get all of that encrypted data unencrypted. But only if we do a live logical before we shut the computer down. Shut that computer down, it's gone. And for the judges, just so that you know, that we get hash values. These are, we call it digital DNA. Hash values are digital DNA. And the reason why we call it digital DNA, it hashes the drive before we copy, hashes the copy, and we call that the integrity. Because we tell judges, look, we can create a hash value for a whole drive, a file, a folder. It puts it through this cryptographic mathematical algorithm. And if a good way of explaining it, if every letter on your keyboard had a numeric value, so capital A was 1, capital B was 2, little letter a was 27, even the special characters like the space bar, if they all had a numeric value, and if what we did is multiplied the first character by the second through that entire document, we'd get this really long number. And that's very much like digital DNA. And judges across the world trust DNA because the chances that two people, even identical twins, don't have the same DNA. There's a 1 in 1 trillion chance that two people in the world would have the same DNA. And so judge says 1 in a trillion, that's 12 zeros. Yeah, of course I trust DNA. If your DNA is at the crime scene, you were there. End of story. I don't have to ask any questions. The hashes that we use in digital evidence, we use, one is called MD5. Do you know the chance that two MD5 hash values, two documents would have the same MD5 hash is 1 in 340 undecillion. That's 36 zeros. And we also use SHA-1 hash value because 36 zeros might not be enough. SHA-1, the chance that two files that have the same SHA-1 hash value is 1 in 1.4 quindecillion. That's 48 zeros. So if judges trust DNA, they certainly trust digital hash values. Hash values equal integrity. So we get that forensic image. Artificial intelligence, let me just tell you, you mentioned artificial intelligence, so I downloaded 2 files today. This is a serious threat to Jamaica. It's certainly a serious threat to the United States. Is an adversary doesn't have to come on your beach to take over your country. They don't have to do any of that. From a distance, they can cause riots in the streets. Imagine this. We got this going on right now in the United States. This was what I saw this morning. Take a look at this. You won't be able to hear it very well. NYPD, let's see if we can play this. So this is on X today. Now, if you zoom into this, look at that patch. Look at that patch. Now, let's just slow down for a minute and X-ray that. Look at the words on that patch. That's not real. That's AI. But guess what? How many people believe that NYPD is attacking ICE, that they're trying to throw them out? This is psyops. This is psychological warfare. They could start a revolution in Jamaica tomorrow with digital. Here's another one. This was another one I saw this morning. Take a look at this. ICE. We're above the law. Now watch him take this helmet off. Right? This is great. Look at this. First of all, his flag is backwards. That's not a real patch. Of course, when we come through and we take that helmet off, you can see that there's no way that helmet. This is all AI. Now, if we look into the background, this right here, that's supposed to say 1540 Broadway. right? That's what that's supposed to say, but AI doesn't know any better. They don't know that in 2013 they changed it to 1540. This sign right here, it's not a solid sign. It's digital. That's what it really looks like, but it's AI. And AI is getting better every week. We can't believe our lying eyes, right? Don't trust your lying eyes. We can't believe it. And without cyber professionals to analyze this digital evidence, to dig through it, looking at EXIF data and looking at the computer, how was this created? What camera took it? How was it edited? And do you know, just one little thing for the students in here, when you save a file on your computer, you know it's never gone, right? When you think of a hard drive, you can think of a hard drive like a big book, right? And when you save something in a book, you've got a table of contents or a glossary. It tells you what's on each page. Well, with our hard drives, what we do is the pages are called clusters, right? And the cluster is the smallest unit that we can save data to. And those clusters are made up of sectors. And if I save a file and it doesn't go to the end of the cluster, this area here is called file slack. What's in file slack? Whatever used to be written there. As a matter of fact, if I save a file, let's say I'm a drug dealer, I'm a really good drug dealer, and I open up a Word document, I'm making a list of all the clients that I sell drugs to, what they like, what they don't like, how much I sell it to them, and I've typed 8 pages worth of my list of drugs, but I haven't clicked save. Where is that file? I see that 8 pages, I can scroll it. Where is it before I click save? Yes, it's in RAM. It's in, as soon as I click save, what happens, it goes to the table of contents, says, I got this list of drugs, where can I save it? Your computer's master file table says, oh, well, you can save that on page 68 through 75. That's now allocated space. The computer knows, don't touch page 68 through 75. I saved something there. Well, when you go to delete a file, no matter how you go about doing it, all that is happening is it goes to the first character of the file name in the table of contents and erases just the first character of the file name in the table of contents. So according to your computer, nothing is down here on page 68 through 75. If we take our forensic tools and look for it, that file is still there. It's in what we call unallocated space. But can I ask you, not my students, you know the answer, but can I ask you, how long does that picture that you deleted remain on that hard drive? How long does that thing stay there in unallocated space? Until it's overwritten. I love that answer. Could I get you to tweak that answer just a little bit for me? Because I talk to judges a lot. Can I get you to say forever until it's overwritten? Right? Forever, because you can continue to use that computer for another year, 2 years, if nothing writes on page 68 through 75. I can still recover it. And even if you do save something, if I save a picture of a hand grenade and it overwrote half of it, I can still recover the first 4 pages. I delete the hand grenade and save another picture of a revolver, and maybe it overwrote half of the hand grenade. I can still recover the first 4 pages of the list of drugs in the first half of the hand grenade. And this just happens over and over and over on a computer. And every file has something called a file signature. And we learn to go through, tell our computer, I want you to go through and search every page looking for any of those file headers. It'll recover the first 4 pages of that list of drugs, the first for that grenade, the entire picture of the revolver, right? So files that are deleted are not ever gone until they're overwritten. Very good, until they're overwritten. So that's something. You have to actually overwrite that file before it is gone. That's just the fact of life. And so even if you format that hard drive, that data is still there. I just want to go through right now, because I know I'm getting close on time, so I want to respect your time. What we're teaching right this week, for those of you that don't know, we got 2 classes going on. I'm teaching Forensics 500. I just clicked this thing and it didn't go. I'm teaching, oh, there we go. Nope. Yeah, I'm teaching Forensics 500, which is Windows Forensics. And my partner, Josh, is teaching, where is my mouse? There we go. Josh is teaching 585 smartphone forensics. Everybody's got a smartphone. I would say that if you are looking for a path, those are the first two paths that you should look at, because everybody's using a computer and everybody's using a phone. Right? Those are the first two things. If I were king for the day, I'd say every law enforcement official is going to know about this. They don't have to pass a certification, but they have to be aware of this so that we can better protect our country, our infrastructure. We can better be cyber resilient. We got a bunch of other classes, reverse engineering, malware, you name it. But what I want to do is I just want to pause for a second, because I've expended my time. I just want to open it up if you have any questions. Does anybody want to play Stump the Geek? The clusters. I'll repeat his question. Go ahead. Yes. If they don't what? Yes, they delete the file. It's a huge file. Yeah. Well, that's a good question. His question is, let's say I delete that file, a picture of a hand grenade, but then I download a huge file. I download a movie, right? A really big movie. Well, it depends. How big is your hard drive? How full is your hard drive, right? And how hard is it to get a bigger hard drive? Right? Today, a terabyte is small. My wife, her iPhone has a terabyte. That's because she's Filipina, so she takes a million pictures. If she sees a weed, she takes a picture of it, right? But how big is your hard drive? How much free space do you have? The chance that it will be overwritten really depends on how much free space you have. You can download all day long and use that computer for another year. If you have plenty of free space on your computer, that file can still be there. And there's something, we were just talking about it 2 days ago, what volume shadow copies, right? Even if that file is gone, guess what? We might have a volume shadow copy. This is a secret area that Microsoft is backing up 90% of your files. You don't see it. But if you go on your Windows computer, you right click and there's a little thing that says restore previous version. It's pulling it from a volume shadow copy. You can edit a document and then you go, oh, I shouldn't have made those edits last week. You can right click, go to restore previous version, and there might be one from 2 weeks ago and you can be back to where you were. Right? So lots of variables. Question? Nope, that's all right. Just any other questions? That was a great question, sir. Here, as a matter of fact, because that was such a good question, let me give you a cybercrime lab lapel pin. Very nice. Very nice. And I don't know if the bosses are in the room. For the people that are in my class and Josh's class of smartphone forensics, but I do want to put in a plug. I am impressed. Josh and I were talking last night at dinner. Hey, Jamaica's got it going on. You guys brought it. So if you're one of the bosses of the people that are in our two classes, congratulations. Well done. But cyber resilience means you got to keep going. Got to keep going. Yes, ma'am.
So my question is, we know that social media is the new social, right?
Yes.
And cyberbullying is a big thing where our students are concerned and just adults like you and me, right? Now, with these investigative tools, what I want to know now is when it becomes transnational,
Yes.
how is it treated if the bully, let's say the bully is in America, we're in the Latin America, and he now has the ability to remove the evidence.
That's right.
So we don't have any screenshots because our laptops is bugged,
Sure.
are bugged. They delete the screenshots that we would have. That would be the basis of our evidence.
Right.
How would you treat with this as a cyber investigator?
So that's a real challenge, and the reason why is because we got this thing in the United States, freedom of speech. Of course, we're drunk with freedom, but we cannot tread on freedom of speech. So even though they're being a cyber bully, we've got laws now about being a cyber bully, but it's got to fall within the letter of the law. But what I would do is I'd be going to that social media platform and asking if they have backups. Do they have a copy of that? Because they do. Even if they delete the post, there are still copies. If you haven't done this, I'd encourage you, go to Facebook, go to Google, and do a Google takeout or a Facebook takeout to download all of your data. It's not all of the data that they know about, but go do that. And if they created, even worse, if they created a fake Facebook account to cyberbully you, because some people are smart enough to say, I'm going to create a fake Facebook account and I'm going to say all kinds of mean things to you. You're bald, you're short, you're ugly. All true, but it still hurts my feelings. Did you know there's something called a machine ID cookie? A machine ID cookie that uniquely identifies that phone. And if you logged in to that fake Gmail account or that fake Yahoo account or that fake Facebook account with the same phone that you logged into your real account, guess what? That machine ID cookie says these accounts are connected. So these are some of the things that the students in class, in both of our classes this week, are learning. It's a chess game. I'll be honest with you. There's no guarantee. There's no guarantee, but it is a chess game. How good are they and how good are we? And we're learning in class about cyber resilience. And one of the ways you be cyber resilient is you don't think on your own. You're a family, you're a team, and you're not afraid to say, hey, I don't know. Hey, what's that registry key that remembers every network you connect to? He'll remember. I forgot. Right? So we got to work together. And I want to encourage you in Jamaica, make sure that you make this cyber training a family. I love the in-person. I'm really glad that you're doing it in person because it's making us a family. We're sitting next to each other. We're laughing together. We're having fun together. And when I leave, the police will still talk to the military going, hey, we were in class together. What was it? Hey, what do you think? Yeah. Right? And it's already happened. Yeah, it's already happened. So be a family, talk together, share your information. The biggest danger in cybersecurity is arrogance, is a lack of humility. The greatest attribute, when I'm looking to hire somebody, I'll tell you what, the number one attribute above technical skill, the number one attribute I'm looking for is humility. Will you admit what you don't know? It's okay. Nobody knows everything. Josh and I don't know everything. We're learning every day. Why? Because there's new operating systems, new patches coming out, new applications. Nobody can know everything. Admit it. Be humble enough to admit to yourself and your family. Because if you ask me, because you saw me up here talking and you say, hey, what's this question? And I BS you, I give you an answer acting like I know what I'm talking about, I've done you a disservice because you trust me right now and you think it's the truth. Be honest. Say, you know what? I'm not sure. That's a great question. Let me go check. Let me get back with you on that. There's no shame in saying, I'd like to double check. I think I know the answer, but you know what? Things are so variable. Things are moving so fast. Have the humility to admit what you don't know. And that's a tough thing in our world. But in cybersecurity, we have to. Or you're hurting not just yourself because you're too arrogant to learn and you're trying to pretend you know everything, and you're hurting your family because they think, well, I don't need to share my information with you. I don't need to tell you. You know that. Have you ever talked to somebody that while you're talking to them, they go, oh, yeah, right. Sure. Yeah. Hate that. Hate that. So be humble. Any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Oh, who asked that? I had a thing, and thank you so much, man.
So I heard the commendations for the participants of the training course that you are undertaking right now. And yes, kudos to all of you. I think you all deserve a round of applause.
Well done. Well done.
But for the benefit of those of us that are not actively learning this with them, could you share from what you've picked up from their knowledge, what you'd recommend as a starting point for focus as a country where it concerns cyber response, drawing back specifically to the fact that everything is now cloud-based?
Yes.
What is it that we can focus on, or if there's something we're overlooking, what should be our first point of focus as a country trying to respond to different cyber incidents?
Now, I want to first say this is going to sound self-serving, and I don't mean it to be, because I created the forensics course. I created it back in 2007 when I was at the Department of Justice. I originally called it Computer Forensics for Prosecutors, and I went to SANS. One of my buddies worked there, and I said, this is what the community needs, not what we were teaching at the time. We used to be teaching something called Track 8, but he said, oh my God, you're right. I think the number one thing you need to know about is Windows forensics, because Windows is 80% of the computers out there. 80% of the computers out there is Windows. So doing Windows forensics, Forensics 500, that's going to give you some of the incident response. Now, you could go to 498 and all they're going to really talk about is incident response, the quick incident response. We're going to give you in 500, we're going to give you a little bit of the incident response, the critical stuff, and then we're going to move on. Okay, now you got it. Tell a story. Where do you look? What do you do? And how do you do it fast? So I would say Windows 500. But the second thing, and I can't say it would be the second, I'd say equal to the first, is there anybody in here that doesn't have a phone, a smartphone? I'd like to say, anybody got a flip phone? I got $100 if anybody got a flip phone? It scared me. He moved his hand. I was like, oh, damn, I just lost $100. But yeah, everybody's got a smartphone. So every single person that's in cybersecurity, I don't care if you're doing network security or you're doing incident response or whether you're military responding to terrorist acts, every single person needs to know about the forensics 585. You need to know about smartphone forensics, because just like with Windows, smartphone forensics is even worse because every phone is encrypted. Every phone is encrypted, and that data is really volatile. And so I think smartphone forensics, everybody, and Windows forensics. Now, from there up to your job, after you get that solid, because that's your 80%. That's your 80%. Then after that, you can specialize. Maybe, depending on what you're doing, maybe you go into malware, reverse engineering, if you like coding. I'm not really good at coding. It takes me 11 lines of code, and Josh will come up and wrote the same thing in one line. Yeah, I do it the old way, right? So you may want to go into cloud forensics. We got 509, which is 5 days of nothing but cloud forensics. How do you authenticate that cloud? We got 508, which is amazing. And everybody in my 500 class, if you haven't taken 585, that should be your next class. And after you've got 500 and 585, 508, if you're doing intrusion, because that is the next logical follow-on that gets deeper into memory. We were looking at memory yesterday. We were looking at RAM and looking at emails and chat sessions and Google searches, but they go even further. They go in more into network forensics. So that's it. Now, how many Mac laptops do you have? How many Apple laptops or computers do you have in Jamaica? If you have a lot, if you're seeing a lot of people go into Mac, 518, you might want to specialize in Mac. Totally different thing, totally different operating system. So 518 would be right here, Mac and iOS forensics, great class. Again, there's so many, but I would say the two core, everybody's got a phone and everybody's using a Windows computer, right? So those are the core that everybody needs to know. And then from there, what's your specialty? What are you going to do the most? How can you be the most valuable to your agency? Pick it and do it. Great question. Great question. You already got a pen. Okay. Well, anything else? I probably shouldn't take any more because I'm over my time. but you guys have been fun. I really appreciate that you laughed at my jokes in front of my boss. That really makes me happy. So thank you. Gang, we're in this together. You heard Ms. Shuttleworth say it's cyber resilience, it's global, there are no boundaries. I show you a picture of the internet, you can't find the United States, you can't find Jamaica. There are no boundaries. In a millisecond, someone from China can be in your bank. Someone from Russia can sow seeds of discontent and hate in your community for your own government. They can cause an uprising without ever stepping on your soil. The more you train now, and you need so many people. One of the biggest mistakes the United States has made right now, we give 100 new agents to, like FBI. FBI, here's 100 new agents. What do? 90 of them are doing regular agent stuff, terrorism and blah, blah, blah. And 10 of them are doing cyber. They don't realize there is no crime that doesn't have a cyber element. I don't care whether it's rape, murder, terrorism. Every crime has a cyber element. That phone is documenting everywhere you are, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Your watch is talking about your heartbeat as you carry that dead body to the beach and throw it into the ocean. Digital evidence is everywhere. You're preparing for the future, and you are cyber warriors preparing for the future, because that attack is coming. It is coming. So arm yourself, battle ready, get training. Knowledge is your armor that's going to protect your country, that's going to help you when somebody tries to put out an AI thing to make people revolt against the police or the law, military, or the government. It's your knowledge that's going to help you quickly respond and show the country the evidence, the irrefutable evidence that this is not real. We got another country trying to destabilize ours. We need to stay together and work together as family. Be humble, work and talk with your brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.